Hello, LinkedIn. Me again. Welcome to today's late lunch show. So, for those who are joining us live today, thank you very much. And anybody that's watching it back later on, thank you very much as well. So, as always, what we do, Bob, is to start the show with a big shout out to Bull Mango Media. So, Andrew, who makes all this happen, get yourself at the back, Andrew. We don't have Anna Amelia today. Don't know where she is. Is she away?
Filming with the BBC.
She's away filming with the BBC. I told you I would get to know somebody famous, right? So Amelia's my famous person that I'm going to know. So she's away filming with the BBC. And we're still going to give a big shout out to Grow, who are our sponsors. But we're not going to show the cakes and the coffees too much today because we didn't actually make it to Grow, right? Because there was roadworks at the roundabout just at the Grow restaurant and we wouldn't have been able to get there and be back in time. So we've had to kind of downgrade and get coffees for somewhere else because I couldn't have Bobby coming into the show and not getting a coffee and a cake. So unfortunately, he's get the kind of wish.com version of the Grow. But we'll be fine. I'm sure it tastes okay. So on today's show, we've got Bobby Mitchell, who is a good friend of mine. We have met each other probably about 18 months ago, was it, when we first met Bobby? We met as part of the Scale Up Scotland programme. So Bobby's business, we were on it together in the same cohort. What Bobby does is great. So the show, as I always say, is all about things that can help other businesses, Bobby. And sustainability and circular economy is at the forefront of so many businesses' minds right now. And sustainability and circular economy is exactly what you do. Is that correct?
Yep, it is.
Good. So I'll let you tell us about your business. Then what I'll do is I'll just come in back and forward and we can see where the conversation goes. So tell us about Pure IT, when you started it, the why behind the business, and then what it is you do.
Cool. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for having me as well.
No problem.
I think the start is kind of a funny one, actually. Kind of fell into the business. I think the original dream was to become a professional rally driver, which didn't quite happen. And then looking for new ways to get into, to help fund that dream, this business opportunity came up and we started collecting old equipment from offices. So as companies would buy new equipment and old equipment under the relatively new at the time WEEE directive, which meant you had to recycle it rather than throwing it away, which is pretty common practice now. So we're going into offices, collecting all the old IT equipment, doing an asset inventory, so they have that for the register, doing all the data wiping, and then either sending older machines to a specialist recycling company to recycle the materials, or actually refurbishing and selling the products. What we found quite quickly, though, was the market for buying the refurbished product seemed to be much greater and going much quicker than the product we're getting in. So companies who wanted a desktop, a laptop, a monitor that was perfectly usable, but maybe wasn't at the cutting edge of performance. And as performance, the need for higher performance has been tailing off. If you're not playing high performance games or doing rendering or doing any graphical design, your older machines are perfectly usable for every app in use. So that kind of grew that way, and we actually struggled for quite a few years where we weren't getting enough supply in to suit the demand, or at least of the products we wanted.
Yeah.
Maybe 90% was too old and not really of the market that we're really wanting to sell. And we transitioned to starting to buy more product from other companies that did what we did. And then in about 2013, we actually stopped doing all collections altogether, and we specialize in buying in product from around the world from thousands of companies that do what we started doing. And it gives us access to that large market of maybe the top 5, top 10% of the best products that we can get in the volume we need. So it's kind of growing from there, and where we want to be and kind of the vision going forward has really been a one-stop shop for any IT hardware for a large organization, that they can get a product that's going to be just as reliable, just as functional as a new machine, and come with a 5-year warranty, but at roughly half the cost.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet. We're doing PCs, laptops, monitors, some accessories. We've not expanded into Apple products yet, servers, networking equipment, which is in the plan to do. Printers is probably something we'll always stay off because we have done that in the past in the early days, and with so many moving wearable parts, it just isn't worth it.
Not worth the risk.
Yeah, it's almost like a car. You think that you need to replace your brakes, your tires all the time. Your printer has all those rubbers and those moving parts, whilst your PCs or laptops and monitors don't.
Yeah.
So if they're tested properly, if they're analyzed properly, and we buy the right reliable models, we don't have a reliability problem. With printers, definitely wasn't the case.
And the thing is, so because if you're sending something out with a 5-year warranty on it, you want to know that it's not going to come back to you a year later, and you spend more of your time and your effort and your resources trying to fix problems than you do try to add value.
Yeah. So we've learned a lot, I think, over the last 15 years, probably the hard way in every single case. Two things. We've got quite a tight product range. We only buy Dell and HP machines of the top business lines.
Right.
And every time we've ventured out of that, there's been a really attractive deal on something else. So let's try this. It's always backfired with more problems, higher failure rates and everything. And the same thing with using non-original parts. So we started at some point using brand new compatible chargers, which we thought, okay, we can get consistency. They look nice. They don't need cleaned. They're a good price and they're brand new with the warranty, but higher failure rates. We had one that even started smoldering with a customer, which wasn't great. Similar problems with batteries and other components. So through the years, we've tried all these things to make our supply chain more reliable by buying new parts from a company we can just get next day, rather than constantly going and finding that product and finding of the right condition and right specification, but always come back to the used high quality product is better than the brand new lower quality products.
So see, obviously you're saying it's just Dell and HP that you do. So do you put in Dell and HP parts into them all? So it's like actually official HP motherboard or whatever you're going to be changing?
Yeah, we almost never replace entire motherboard. It's more kind of the smaller parts. So whether it be the battery, the charger, or the RAM is something we upgrade quite often, or what's called the SSD, where you store all your information. So picking the mainline brands of those gives that reliability. And then the same thing with how we refurbish laptops has been probably one of our biggest growth areas, and where we've diverged away from other companies. We buy a lot from abroad, so the keyboards are in UK. So the industry standard is to what's called a reprint the keyboard. So it's using a machine to reprint a different language over the keyboard, which is quick. It looks great. But we found over the years that 2-3 years down the line, the paint delay would start to flake off. So we had customers with a 5-year warranty, but 2-3 years in, they're getting, their keyboard just starting to see the other symbols coming through of whatever language it might have been or whatever it might be. So we transitioned in 21 to sourcing brand new original keyboards, UK ones, which we swap into. So that's kind of one step we took to increase the quality and longevity of the product, but made it more costly for us. The same thing is when we're trying to get a grade A finish, companies or other companies might put a vinyl wrap in like you would do a car, or they'll spray paint the devices. We try both of those. Again, longevity is a problem. When we're giving the 5-year warranty and we're giving that guarantee, the customer going to get a product which is going to be as good as it can be for 5 years. It just didn't work. So we spent the latter part of 2020 a long time with a buying agent in China trying to find the factories that the original parts come from. So we're buying the lids, the bases, the keyboards, the bit around your keyboard called the palm rest. We've got a stock of all these different parts. The bit of plastic around your screen, all these tiny little things we're buying in, we stock them. So when we're refurbishing the laptop, we're replacing all these parts. So when the customer gets it, it looks like it came out the factory. And that's the hard part, and that's kind of where we got to.
And see, what's the warranty you get with a Dell or an HP?
So it varies.
Because I didn't think it was as much.
So I think that's one thing. If you're ever buying a new product, look at the warranty. It's going to give you a good indicator on the quality. So if you're going to get a new product with a 1-year warranty, unless it's Apple, but we'll sidestep Apple.
Well, don't talk about them. I don't like Apple.
Generally speaking, expected to not be particularly high quality. So your Dell and HP business line models are top of the range, probably have at least a 3-year standard warranty.
Mhm.
And most of the larger organizations we're supplying into will be getting upsells to 5 years,
Yeah.
either a standard or a small extra cost. So 5 years pretty much the standard in the market we're competing in.
And so that 5-year warranty, what does that include?
So for us and for most of the industry, it's fairly consistent. It's everything hardware related.
Right.
The only caveat is batteries. We cover them for a year. New manufacturers cover them for a year, and some refurb suppliers, I think, do 30, 60 or 90 days.
Right, okay. So realistically, from coming to you guys and getting, say, a laptop or 10 laptops for your business, you come there, you're getting 10 laptops for your business, they're probably going to cost you about half the price, but you're getting just as good, if not longer, warranty than you probably did do if you just bought one from elsewhere.
Yeah, so that's kind of the business model we put together to deliver that. I think the only caveat to that is for home users or smaller SMEs, if you compare our product to something out PC world,
Yeah.
they're actually not too dissimilar in price.
Yeah.
But we're comparing half the price of that business line new model, which is like £800, £900, and you're taking that level of quality and getting half the price, or you go and buy your brand new one with a 1-year warranty, lower quality, but it's 10%, 20% more than ours.
Yeah, because that's obviously, we actually, when we first started, we were buying refurbed laptops, but we had issues with them. And I think obviously we're now looking at the next stage of our growth, and probably going to be looking at using you guys for it. But we had some good examples and we had some bad examples.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that puts a lot of people off the going down this circular economy and kind of try to reuse existing laptops and IT equipment because they've maybe had a bad experience. But I think like, your customer satisfaction is quite high, is it not? Do you measure that?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of ways of measuring it. And I think one of the things is we've got our main channel, which is offline. So we do have an e-commerce website, but 99% of our business is direct to businesses, schools, NHS, and larger organizations.
Yeah.
So we generally do testimonials and stuff offline. We do have the basic Trustpilot and FIFO and things like that, doing the website stuff. Laptops are the hardest thing to refurbish. Monitors are pretty easy. Desktops or PCs, fairly easy to refurbish, but the trend is going laptops because everyone will be more mobile.
Yeah.
But with so many moving parts to the batteries, the keyboards, the chargers, screens, all the other things you have in there, and the fact they get thrown in and out of a bag, so they have to be durable. They're the hard thing. They're the really hard thing to refurbish, and the difference between some suppliers, other suppliers can be quite a lot in the way they refurbish and the quality around that. Yeah,
because obviously I mean, my dad asked me for a desktop. Well, I don't even know if you still get them. So you do have a generation that's still like a desktop, but if you look at it, must be 80-90% of the people out there, they're all going laptop, even your larger organisations as well. Because I can remember years and years ago when I worked in places and you just had your desktop computer at your desk, and then you went home and you didn't think about your work.
Yeah.
That life is well and truly gone a long, long time ago for me, but that is now the same for most places. Yeah. I mean, even I'd imagine it is the councils and the NHS and all that the same as everybody there getting laptops, because they always, because I can remember, sorry, I'll give you a wee story. I used to do pack testing many moons ago, and one of the contracts I did was North Lanarkshire Council, and South Lanarkshire Council actually, and I used to go in to see that big building, Hamilton Street building, and that's Hamilton. Is it Hamilton Street? In the middle of Hamilton, I can't remember the name of the street. See the big grey building?
Right, okay.
I was in there for over a month doing pack testing. All the computers, basically all the computers. So your desktop, then you're doing the IC cable, you're doing that, and in that building, I don't even know how many computers they had. Hundreds, maybe lots of hundreds or thousands, and they were all desktops. Yeah, you didn't really have. You'd one or two people maybe had a laptop back then, but not very many.
Yeah, when was that?
I was in 2003, I think 2004. Aye, showing your age. Aye. Back in the day. Aye. Because I know 2003. Because I was actually in that building the day my oldest son was born. Okay. Because I got a phone call. And this is terrible probably seeing this in the radio, in the live in the show. But I got a phone call when I was in that building to say that my missus went into labour, and it was the old A77 at the time, and I was driving up that about 110 mile an hour trying to get back to the hospital. I made it for that place in Hamilton to the hospital, and I think it was less than half an hour or something. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal how fast I got there.
Did you finish pad testing though?
I didn't, no.
Okay.
No. I'd actually, I think I'd finished the floor I was on. I was literally just finished my work, and then I got a phone call from my brother-in-law saying, Haley's been kept in the hospital. And I'm like, why? Why are you phoning me? Then obviously all sorts of confused. It's your first child, you're crapping and everything. So that was 2003 when he was born. So I was in that building at the time. So I always remember it. But yeah, the world's moving on, and as you say, so has that brought different challenges into your business over regards to how you, because you must be trying to get a kind of production line type thing going when you're holding all these stock and stuff like that. So does that make that challenging for you?
So, just obviously your point there, we're actually still supplying more PCs than we are laptops.
Are you?
So, education sector still has more ICT suites with static desktops. Same with NHS and some local authorities, but it is transitioning significantly more. So our growth in laptops is significantly higher than our desktops. I think we're growing like 10% on desktops, but 150% on laptops in the last 12 months. The laptops are becoming much more difficult to refurbish, just the way they're getting thinner. Less parts are replaceable, or parts are combined together, a bit like a car. We used to be able to, replace your window winder. Now you replace the entire door or whatever. That kind of thing. So to make them thinner and lighter, they're bonding more parts together. So when we're replacing them, then you can't just replace one part, two parts. So.
And that's where, because we talk a lot about circular economy, I know that's kind of really, really close to your heart and what you do, but laptops are probably a good example. They're been made to be a consumable, rather than something that can be recycled, reused, refurbished, repurposed, whatever you want to call it. And it's so many things in the world, and we're seeing it. Obviously, we had Stephen Fitzpatrick on the show, and he was talking about circular economy and how the manufacturing sector are starting to look at circular economy when they're building things, but that's in the UK. Right. And I mean, I imagine none of these laptops are built in the UK. I imagine they're built in China. Do they have the same philosophies over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's also playing devil's advocate as well. I kind of say that there's lots of things they're doing which are making it more difficult to reuse these products. But they'd argue there's a benefit to it. So they're thinner, they're lighter. Arguably more reliable because of the way they're manufacturing. But if ever a fault, it's like Apple have really gone down the road of the main board has all your RAM in it, all your your SSD, your storage in it. So you can't just upgrade your storage. If you run out of storage, you want to put a lot of videos and files in there. You can't just go and replace that. It's all in the main board now. But they'll argue it's more reliable that way. So Dell and HP are also going down that road, which is challenging for us because it means that if we just want to upgrade them for a customer, because we customize every spec to every order. So the customer has 3 or 4, up to 5 different things they can adjust, and they can get any variation of that. But as these get stuck onto the main board, we can't really offer those variations. So there's a problem with that. I think to give them the other side, they are becoming more reliable for it. They're becoming thinner, they're lighter. But ultimately, there will be more e-waste either having to be repaired at a chip level, which is very high expertise, or discarded.
Because I'll get from the industries that we work in, electric motors became a consumable, right? Because it was cheaper to buy a new one than it was to repair the old one. That's what happened. So, say you had a 11 kilowatt motor, right? And
these are big motors. So you're not talking about your small.
No. I'm talking about like 11 kilowatt motors, so probably about that size. So what happened was a lot of companies basically started saying that motors were becoming a consumable. So we had a lot of companies that would they set the level at 11 kilowatts. Then we had some that were setting it at 22 kilowatts, right? Which is that size, probably, right? And what happened was the reason they'd done that is because they said there's absolutely no point in us repairing that. We'll just run it, take breaks, and then we'll just change it. that philosophy in the industrial world that we're living in is changing for two reasons. One, it used to be that you could get these things off the shelf the next day. That changed after COVID and Brexit. But it wasn't actually after COVID. COVID had nothing to do with it. It was after Brexit because none of them are built in the UK.
Right.
So what you had before was you could easily get things moving about. People were happy to hold stock because it didn't matter. It was all part of their European strategy. Whereas now, the holding stock in the UK was costing a lot more money than it was holding it somewhere in Europe. So you had that, and then the sustainability element, because the carbon footprint to change that is quite big, right? Because it's something to get transported across. Plus, you'll get the building process. Plus, you'll get everything else that goes with it, and then you've got trying to get rid of a usually completely knackered motor, which you'll be able to salvage some parts of it, but not much. And the chances that once it gets beyond economical repair, that's just going in the bin.
Yeah. And how easy are these things to repair? Is it the brushes that normally go, or
so within those motors, what you've got a rotor. Within that rotor, you'll have copper in it. So it'll be a shaft with some laminations and then copper around it, and then the stator part of it is just basically wound copper, depending on the size. So the smaller ones, it's just basically little thin bits of copper that are wound around.
So they should be easy to repair.
They are, but because of the manufacturing in China, and Poland was a big one, Hungary, these places where you could manufacture them a lot cheaper. So just for example, that 11 kilowatt motor is $3,000 to buy, right? Just say for saying sake. Don't know how much an 11 kilowatt motor is nowadays, but say it's $3,000 to buy. See, the time you get it in and completely strip it down, your man hours on that, you're about $1,000. Maybe more. Yeah. Then because what you're doing the same job twice, right? You're stripping it all out. You're then having to rebuild it. You're then having to retest it. You're then having to repaint it. You're doing all that kind of stuff. So the repair was it was always a bit more expensive for the smaller machines. Okay. But what's happening now is that philosophy starting to change. And again, what you're seeing is we're seeing the big companies, because they've got so much focus and attention on circular economy in their carbon footprint. Like, we did a thing, we spoke about it on this show about it the other week there. Our apprentices and our grad apprentice done a survey. So see, to get a pump, so a replacement small pump from Flowserve in Spain to Ayrshire was 0.5 ton of carbon.
Right, okay.
Right?
Air.
Yeah. Sorry.
Air or road.
I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what way the travel was. So that was the travel carbon. But you've also got a carbon cost to build it.
Yeah.
There's loads of other things that go into it. I can't remember exactly what the guys went into, but they did all the detailed stuff on it and get it approved by people. But it was 0.5 ton, and you're like, say there's a large industrial site, and it was changing 50 pumps out a year. That's a lot of carbon.
Yeah.
And it's a big saving. Whereas if they can just change a bearing in it, it's the square root of nothing in carbon.
It's interesting seeing industry going back. Everything been driving so much forward to less repair, lower cost, simpler, but not really the ability to take it apart and fix it. So it's really nice to see an industry like that actually going back and allowing things to be fixed.
Well, it's just like phones. Right, so remember you used to have your old Nokia. I bet you if people still got Nokias and they still bounce them off the floor and everything like that. Phones are a consumable. Phones are made to last 2 years. Yeah, right, and then they start packing in.
The batteries are hard to replace. All that kind of stuff.
Never mind the fact that the amount of people's house screens are smashed, but you're back. Well, that's my phone yesterday. I stopped off to do a Teams call. I was sitting in the car doing a Teams call, then my phone just cut out and said, phone too hot, basically. It was too hot to even do anything. When it was in the wee holder thing, I picked off and it was absolutely roasting. Right, so I think my battery's going.
Maybe,
But the phones are, used to get it all the time. You go into a contract, a 2-year contract, 2 months in before your 2 years is up, your phone starts playing up. Yeah. All these things, it was built for a linear economy because they just wanted you to buy one, it breaks, and you buy another one. And that was the thing. But the world is changing.
We've tried doing iPads in the past, and quality and reliability meets the brief that we look for in a product. The problem with iPads is they have, I don't publicize it, but they have roughly 5-year shelf life on the updates to the OS.
Yeah.
And if you can't get the latest OS, you then can't get the latest apps, or some of the apps don't
Yeah.
work. So where our model is roughly getting something which is about 3 years old, top of the range unit, which is perfectly reliable and fit for purpose. The problem with iPads is it gives you 2 extra years use.
Aye.
So then we were doing that for a little while, and we found that then customers are complaining that they can't update to the latest OS. Then XY app isn't going to work. So it's really, for us, we want to be able to supply a product that's definitely going to work for 5 years.
Yeah.
And the iPads just couldn't do that. So only tablets we do are Windows-based tablets, which we do on a very small scale. But it's a shame because the reality that the actual iPad itself, from a performance perspective, would run the latest OSs. It's not like the processor is not good enough or whatever it is. It's just a pre-built obsolescence to drive more sales.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's, again, I don't really like Apple because of all those reasons. They're just constantly trying to get you to buy new stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same as the whole thing with the chargers. When it used to be the chargers, you had to differentiate, had to use a specific one, blah, blah, blah. Don't like being ripped off.
Yeah.
But the with regards to the laptops and stuff like that, that model seems to work. And I think the fact that you're getting that 5-year warranty with it, that's a peace of mind for people. And that's when you first told me that you did that, and I'm going, that's kind of unheard of in the repair world.
Yeah.
Right? In the repair of any world, because obviously we come from a repair background. We would never have gave 5-year warranty on what we did, because obviously, don't get me wrong, what we did was lots and lots of moving parts and these things, but it's still a long time. So it's having that real trust and know and belief that your people do that good a job that you're not worrying about.
Yeah, I would say yes, but we rely more on the quality of the original manufacturer's products.
Yeah.
So our job is to effectively do quality control on that.
Yeah.
And to test it thoroughly, identify problems. A lot of the problems we find are actually visual or human input tests rather than just, chuck on a stress test. It gives you all your problems.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is most time the main board isn't the problem. It's a wobbly USB-C port or something like that.
Aye.
And particularly the drive to USB-C now as your main charging port. It's a very small port that everybody plugs in and out. They're the ones that seem to break all the time.
Right.
But relying on the fact we're always using the original manufacturer's parts, as long as we've checked that properly, then that's where we get the reliability from. And it's why we've stayed away from the lower end models, because that's where you get higher failure rates.
Aye.
And then this idea, we used to buy brand new lower brand, SSDs and RAM because there was a UK supplier who could do them next day. It made our supply chain much easier, but we're getting weird faults. We're getting higher failure rates, but even the type of failures we're getting were not what we're expecting. So we're getting a fault coming up, and we wouldn't originally identify it to be that component.
Yep.
So weird faults. It caused a lot more problems for our support team to deal with. And since we've gone back to just using used higher brand stuff, we've not had those failures anymore. So really for us our job is to do a thorough testing process, do the quality control, change the components, bring it up to a like new standard, but then rely on the quality of the original manufacturer's components to get longevity.
No, it's a good model where you're focused on reliability and performance rather than just getting something out the door. But it seems like you've obviously that getting to that base of knowledge and that focus didn't just happen overnight. There's been a load of...
Yeah. I think you can apply this to any electrical product if there is the market for high-end products that are built to last still.
Yeah.
But it takes the knowledge and expertise to find that, to know what to look for, to test that, to find the solutions to all the problems, and then to identify the market for it. And it'd be nice to see more organizations that anything electrical, you can find an organization to get a high quality used version that is going to be as reliable as a new one, but also come with a warranty backed up to it. And I think we will move to that stage as more and more companies are getting into the circular sector, because it should be the case.
Aye. And I think that there is a bit of, it's back to everybody trying to get something cheaper.
Yeah.
Right? Cheaper isn't always better. But it was the whole buy cheap, buy twice or something like
Yeah.
that. And that's where unfortunately, there's different markets out there. So you've got some people that are happy enough just going and buying that entry level thing.
Yeah.
I did it years ago actually with like a notebook I got for one of the kids, and I went, well, that's a great price.
Mhm.
What a pile of crap.
Yeah.
Right? Honestly, it ended up, all I ever heard was them moaning at me. I'm going, do you know what? I wish I'd just spent an extra £100 and I probably wouldn't have them moaning at me all the time.
But it's like there's something built for every market.
Yeah.
So, and even the one thing Apple do really well is they only build a high quality products.
Yeah.
Whilst Dell, HP, Lenovo, Asus, these other brands, they're trying to service all the markets.
Yeah.
So they'll build a really cheap, nasty thing for that market and build something really high end and good for that market.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of tarnishes their brand a little bit because we get a company coming to us or less educated customers around the hardware and saying, oh, we don't want to buy Dell because it's been unreliable. We don't want to buy HP because of X, Y, Z. And when we asked them what problems they had, it was like a consumer grade product, which was pretty unreliable. So the same is like we looked at it from not from business perspective, but surely you can get any household white goods, whether it's your washing machine, dishwasher, things like that, that are refurbished to a good enough standard. You may not have the connection to the smart app or whatever to control it, but if you don't need that, where the technology's moved on, then surely you can get a good product for a cheaper price that's going to be high enough quality.
Well, actually, we were talking about it a couple of years ago now. See, when you're growing up, everybody knew a guy that fixed the tellies, a guy that fixed the washing machines. There was always that guy, right?
Yeah.
The local guy that your telly broke, right? Phone Jim, right? Jim will come in, he fixed it all the time.
Yeah.
He fixed it the last time, blah, blah, blah.
I wouldn't even know where to go. See if our washing machine broke. The most likely thing is under warranty. If it's not under warranty, let's buy a new one.
Aye. We've done the same. Well, what I done is I actually went and started... No, the last one I got, the one before that, decided to go and try and fix it myself.
Right, okay.
And it sat in my driveway for about 6 months.
Okay.
In bits. Because I took it to bits. I was like, right, I kind of know what I'm doing here and all that kind of stuff. And then I went, I'm going to have to wash my clothes. Just didn't have the time for it.
Yeah.
And it was actually me and Lucas, me and my boy, that was a wee project that we done. And I basically lay outside with it in bits.
Yeah.
At least I know how to take a washing machine to bits nowadays. But
you're not sure how to put it back together.
I'm still not sure how to put it back together. Aye. That was the story of my life when I was younger. I was always a kid that I remember getting a kind of ghetto blaster.
Yeah.
I wonder how that works. Taking all to bits. It's been a present that you've got for Christmas.
Yeah.
And by the time New Year's Day comes, it's sitting in bits and don't know how to put it back together.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to grow up on a farm, so we had loads of things to take apart. The old cars that had come from the local garage, so it'd been an MOT failure. I think at the time there wasn't a great scrap value, or there'd been charge taken away, whatever it was. So like they would drop them off, and we'd have this car to play with and drive around the farm, and then it broke, and we have to fix it. So lucky enough to kind of grow up doing that and taking stuff apart all the time. So a lot of fun.
So see on your rallying career, what happened with that?
So I think two things. One, the cost of progressing in rallying was very expensive. The likelihood of actually making into a professional career was probably unlikely.
Right.
So I think it was a case of, do I focus on business, grow that, and do it as a hobby as and when I've got the time and the money to do so. So that was the decision to do kind of about a year into business. So
Are you still doing it?
I did it for 3 years, about 5 years ago, and then children came along, so that took away time and everything else. So
It's shocking to see these kids, by the way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can remember I used to be no bad at golf, and I used to be kind of half fit and
yeah,
just roll about.
I haven't played golf since my first child arrived.
Aye.
I still got a golf bag though in the garage.
Aye. Well, that's insane. I was the same. So I'd stopped playing when my first child was born. Once he got to kind of 3, took up again. Then my second child came. And then after I don't know, right, okay. I'll get back to it when I get time. And I've not had time since.
No, I agree. If I'm going to try a new sport as well, something I can do is going to be a bit more intense exercise.
Yeah.
So yeah, golf is definitely for
High rocks.
later years.
You tried the high rocks yet?
No, I'm not. I say I'm not that fit.
I can't. Yeah.
So yeah.
I went and did it in Glasgow and I hadn't even trained.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I was burst for about 4 or 5 weeks after it, but it was good fun.
Yeah.
It's really good that I used to do a lot of the obstacle course racing.
Okay.
But again, you need to train for all these things. You just not get time.
I've
to
never
train.
seen you doing the morning run around Blair.
I did it a
Okay.
couple of times. Aye.
Okay.
We did it. So me, Scott, and Sam did
Okay.
it the day that we went in the pool. Remember?
I remember seeing Scott and Sam. I don't remember seeing you.
In fact, I think
Must have missed you.
is that the time that I'd only done one
Maybe,
thing
yeah.
and they did two. Maybe. But no, I have done it a couple of times.
Yeah,
Aye.
good.
But it was me. I think I was the first one out, and then Scott.
Okay.
No, in fact, I went out and I didn't know Scott ran, and I
Okay.
went out running and then seen him in the two of his
Yeah.
passes I went off.
It's an amazing place to kind of go for that walk around or run around in the
brilliant.
morning. So
So for those listening, obviously, Bobby and I were in the same scale up program. We're talking about the Blair Estate, where they hold the scale up, cohort and program, and the place is awesome, isn't it?
yeah, it's amazing.
The people that follow me on LinkedIn or are connected to me on LinkedIn, they would have seen the video
Yeah,
I
your
did.
pictures.
Aye, to see I did a video. See when we did our last session.
Okay.
Right. So I did a video driving up saying I'm going to miss this drive as we graduate and all that kind of stuff. We didn't really graduate, but folk at that. Oh, congratulations for graduating for the scale up program. I'm like, probably didn't word that great. Right? They're thinking that we've got a big certificate and that's us. We've now completely made it. But the program I thought was brilliant. And would you recommend it to people?
Yeah, definitely. I've actually got a friend who's on his first session, starts yesterday with Fresh Air Dave.
In fact, I was talking to. We had Dave last week, and he was telling me it was a new cohort.
Yeah, so I think they do Dave every time. But yeah, I've recommended a few people. I think anybody looking to scale their business, it's a great platform to work from. The learnings there, the people you meet. I think the cohort structure is amazing as well. I think, like we were talking about, every 2 months we're going to meet up again and holding each other accountable to help ourselves grow the business. I've actually, if Alison's listening, I've got a call with her next week, I think, to make sure she's delivering something.
Very good.
So, yeah.
We're going to try and get Alison on the show because I think Alison, again, it's back to the things that can help businesses and what Alison does from both a training point of view with the university stuff like that, but what she does to help kind of new start businesses and scaling businesses. So I'm going to try and get her on the show.
Yeah, so definitely recommend it. And I feel a bit of a shame it's over. So
do you not think that she every Friday afternoon when you're driving home for there, you're absolutely buzzing, and you've got all these. There's all these ideas. Obviously, I'm only 5 minutes from Blair, but I can only imagine what your head must be going through your head driving all the way to. Where are you? Is it
in Edinburgh? But yeah, I used to stop in the warehouse on the way back, which is Livingston. But it's usually all those great ideas, and you kind of be buzzing, and then you walk back into work, and there's like 15 problems going on, and like before you know it, you're back fixing those problems. I had a really good time actually. One of the times gave Sam a lift over. Who's also in the program, and I think just having that hour and a half in the car, bouncing off ideas with somebody else who's kind of going through the same program, was really beneficial, and learned a lot from him and his ideas and his skill set being quite different from mine. So that was really beneficial.
I think for me it's that bit. So you're in your day-to-day job, right? You're leading your business, as you say. Just problems and challenges there all the time.
Yeah.
And we all talk about working on the business and not in the business, right? And that's what we all aspire to be doing. But the realistic fact is, when you're running a small to medium enterprise, you try that, and then before you know it, you're back there doing something that you probably shouldn't be doing because somebody else should be doing it, but you're in there because if somebody doesn't come in and do it, it's going to fault. Someone's going to fault you. And it's try and get away from that. But those 2 days that you're away, you're totally on the business, right? And you're not in the business. I'm actually contemplating just not getting into the office.
Just take 2 days off.
Well, just so what we actually do. So that's one of the reasons I did this show, was that obviously I've been talking about doing this since last January. Come up with the idea back then, and just never had time to do it.
When you start it?
But when did you start it, Andrew?
34 shows ago.
34 weeks.
34 weeks
It's
ago.
a pretty big undertaking to get every single week. I thought it was monthly when you first mentioned it.
Aye.
But because James Watt mentioned that when he was chatting at the founders event last year. He does 4 hours out of the business, everything turned off every single week. And even at size he's at, kind of that deep investment into just looking at everything in the business, where's the strategy going, what we're going to do. But one thing I found is I find as you're growing a business, it's quite with kind of cycles of getting more out of the business. And you've got people who are doing the function of the business, things are going quite well. And then as you grow, more problems come. There's areas which didn't need weekly attention that now do need weekly attention.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have the expertise in that area, whether the budget to afford that or just haven't hired yet. And then you're back into firefighting that area. Or just as the business grows, the team isn't really strong enough to deliver in those departments. So I found that as we've grown, there's been all these kind of plateau areas where I've had way more time to focus on working in the business. We've made good growth in that area working in the business. Then you go through periods of just firefighting for 6 months.
Well, that's so the way I always say it is growing a business is all these steps, right? So you've got lots of small steps. While you're doing those small steps, you're usually on top of things. Then when you take that big step, whether it's a big new contract or it's a reorganisation of your team or whatever it is you're doing, that big step, during that big step, the business needs you, right? Because that's where is the leader, the founder, the whatever's there is because usually that big step, you've had to be instrumental in that step in one way, shape or form, and then it needs you back in till it gets there, and then you just start the wee steps again.
That's a good point.
And the wee steps are usually things that the others in the business that you've now put in place or whatever the responsibility is, they can usually manage them, and you're just still looking for that next big one.
But it's probably like me and any business owner, is a big opportunity that comes up or a big deal that comes up, you're never going to say no to it, and then you just all hands on deck trying to find a way to deliver it.
That's it. And as a someone that's trying to scale a business, there'll be opportunities that they might be, you're going, it's probably bigger than I can chew right now, but I'll make it work. And the reason that you make it work is because you move back into the business. So we've got loads of examples of that, Kane and I, where we're just getting to a stage where we're actually getting a bit of time in our hands and then going, do you know what? That next thing, we've got that, but we're going to have to come back into to do it. But what we've said is part of the thing that we went away with Fresh Air Dave last week and stuff like that, is that we're hopefully going to get to a stage now that we don't need to do that. Right, so that's the structures in place where that next big thing we can go, there you go, Darren or Audrey or Matthew or whoever, Jay, whoever else we've got in the team, and say, right, we're going to work in that, we'll be part of the beginning, but it's your baby now, right? You can then now go and deliver that. And we've just had one recently, we've just won a big order, it's like 300 odd grand. That's us. I'm probably not need to be back involved in that again now because we've got people there.
Good place,
See, even a year ago, Kane and I would have had to have babysat that whole thing through the whole process. And the amount of, that's you're in there until that's delivered, and then you're back out. So it's back to these, as I say, the stepping stone bits. But but where we're going with that was when you're there for those 2 days, you're basically been told to switch off all that shit and start thinking about where you're going forward. But when I started this show, part of it was one for this. So see this half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever this conversation is, I'm not thinking about all the crap that's going on about me in my business. Hopefully you've been the same. And what I've tried to then do is after this show, that's a bit of me time. So that's I call it, I've got it booked up in my diary as a strategy time. There's times I'll leave here and I'll get home and I'll fall asleep. There's times I'll leave here and I'll go home and I'll start thinking about some of the kind of more strategic stuff that I've not done. So in this afternoon, I don't really do emails. I don't really do the kind of general day-to-day stuff. It's that kind of higher level stuff. Like we're looking at forward plan P&Ls, looking at the investment strategy, looking at all this kind of stuff. The new website, that's the kind of stuff I do just now.
Okay, it's your Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon, because in a Friday afternoon, yes, we're all our site work and all that stuff's going on, but it's not as busy. So you can go, right, okay, a bit of time to decompress. And as I say, it's just do what you do. It was supposed to be so I could go and play golf every week, but I've still not done it yet.
Maybe 10 more years.
Maybe.
So I've found since COVID, when I was working at home 5 days a week for a year, whatever it was, I've now, a lot of the year, I'm at home Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
And I get a lot more of that done because you don't have all the small distractions. 100%. And it's hard not getting involved in the small problem when you see the small problem and you can input in some way to make it better. So when you're in the office, when I'm in the office, more gets done and I can help solve problems, but at the same time, it distracts me from the more strategic things. So for me, that Tuesday and Thursday yes, I'm still working in the business, but I have at least 2-3 hours in those 2 days I can work on the business building stuff. That's really important to me.
Yeah. The one thing I've always said is, see, when you're not in the office, people just do stuff.
Yeah.
See, when you're in the office, people ask you.
Yeah, it's true.
And I've always said that. So I used to do it, but when my previous jobs was like, how come when I'm not here, all this stuff just gets done?
Yeah.
I said, but when I'm here, it's all coming over my desk. I says, you don't need to ask. Just go and do it. And if you get it right, great. If you get it wrong, we deal with it. But when you're there, it's always that bit of reassurance. It's like that safety net. People will come and ask you. Because I said before, like, see, between like 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock, I never ever done any my own job. Right? It was all spent doing stuff that you probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But it's when you're there and you're visible, people are always trying to give you. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really spend a huge amount of time in our office anymore.
Right.
Right? There to try and help support them. But I've said, listen, yous are all, I'm empowering you all to do your jobs. I'm away to go and find the new big shiny thing that we're going to work on.
Yeah.
You guys do it. And then, but when you're in the office, and obviously there is that, it's you just end up getting involved in stuff.
Yeah.
Which isn't helping us as the leaders, but it's also not helping the people either, because they'll learn more by making the mistakes.
I think a good way of looking at it is, you do this every Friday. It's live, so you can't not do it.
Correct.
You find the 2 hours or whatever you're here to do. Yeah, I'm sure there's many times that you're meant to do something on a Monday or Tuesday. It will take 2 hours that you don't find time to do
100%.
because there's not that set deadline. You have to do it. I'm exactly the same. When we've got a tender deadline or we've got something else, we can find that 16, 20 hours to work on a tender, but to find 2 hours, 4 hours sometimes to do something else without that deadline just doesn't happen.
100%.
So I think it's great what you're doing here. Obviously, you've got us live and it keeps you accountable.
And that's what it's done for me.
Yeah,
it really has. And it's actually been good. Don't get me wrong. It's a day that I could be doing my time to do the other things I've got to do, but I still think it's been good for me. I think obviously it was all about trying to give something back. So we've had lots of obviously cracking guests on like yourself. So you're sitting there just getting a blather, and you're not thinking about work for a couple of hours to a certain extent, and then the afternoon's supposed to be chill time.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. Right, guess how much we're over?
We're over already, are we?
Well, that's been on for 50 minutes.
I told you could chat a lot.
Sure. So is there any, obviously for anybody, Andrew, did any question come in? I've started to stop the show to ask for questions, but we've just been too busy yapping, Bobby.
There's no question.
Yeah, that's fine. So
we'll obviously answer all the questions, or was it interesting?
No, so you have to ask, because people don't just usually throw questions in. But what we'd started doing was changing it a wee bit, because obviously, did you see my thing on LinkedIn about how it's all changed? And you're seeing posts like for 3 weeks ago and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to work out the best way for the algorithms to work on this.
Relevant,
because we were. The one with Booth Welsh had been seen over 60,000 times. And then since this change, we've got nowhere near the same amount of visibility. So we'd started changing it so as we could get some questions and that come in. But so there's no good. So is there anything else that you want to try and get out there about what you're doing, the types of people that would maybe be able to get use out of your kind of products and services and stuff?
Yeah, so I think, obviously not trying to plug, but anybody who is interested in looking at any IT equipment, happy chat to them. We're pretty open. We also do some blog articles talking about pros and cons, different things, the pitfalls of refurbished, what to look for. So yeah, just happy to help anybody. Because
that was, again, back to the one of the big differences between you and like the companies that we had spoke to before about refurbished IT equipment. You're honest, right? And I think that's got huge value to people that are thinking about this. I mean, there's no kind of talking crap to you because of what you're trying to sell them something. Yeah, it's I think that's one thing we've always tried to really focus on, particularly in the sales team as well, is I just give the customer the helpful advice. We do a lot of needs analysis, so we understand what's important to them. Give them helpful advice on the different options they have, and then we've got the blog articles. You can educate them on things to watch for refurbished, the difference between refurbished and new, all these different things. Is just trying to help people. Because at the end of the day, they're going to make an informed decision in some way, shape, or form anyway. So we can be there to assist them and hold their hand through that, and not get burnt by some other refurbished supplier who isn't doing the same quality. There is other providers who do good quality like we do,
but there's also a lot of bad ones.
Yeah.
So
And it's back to, so we talk about this quite a lot on this show as well, is being a good guy.
Mhm.
Costs nothing.
Yeah.
And what you find is people appreciate your honesty and the fact that you're trying to be helpful to them.
Mhm.
And that's what brings in business. The whole sales cycle of how people buy has changed completely.
Yeah.
People just want to buy on trust.
Yeah.
Right? Price isn't really the big option anymore. It's the trust in the level of service
Mhm.
that people receive. And that you can only get that if you're honest and you're transparent. Right, okay. Well,
thank you very much for having me. It's
thank
been
you very
amazing.
much for coming
I
along.
love the location as well.
That's good, isn't it? The guys have done a fantastic
Yeah.
job with this.
Looks better in real life than actually what you see behind the camera as
Yeah.
well. So
It's because you probably see my face quite a lot on the camera. You actually get a bit of scenery round about you here. and there.
yeah,
No, it's good. As I say, listen, this is nothing to do with me. This is all Andrew,
Thank you, Andrew.
who's made this place happen. And I'm very, very fortunate and lucky that he's my pal.
you're going to have the green screen up and you're going to be on the beach soon.
That's it. Hopefully, I'll go through next door into the virtual production place and actually pretend I'm swimming and all that. get one of these big lights on me and get a tan. Right, Bobby. Thank you
Great,
very much.
thank you.
Right,
Cheers,
cheers,
Jimmy.
Thank you, everybody. Anybody that's still watching, thank you very much, and anybody that's watching it back, have a lovely weekend or whenever you get to see this. In fact, 2 seconds, Andrew, before you go. Anybody that's actually not watching this live, I'd be interested to see when this comes up on your feed. Right, because I had a wee bit of a moan yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? When was it, Andrew? Yesterday. No, it wasn't. It was Wednesday. It was Wednesday. I had a wee bit of a moan about how LinkedIn's changed its algorithms. So anybody that's watching this back, I'd be interested when it comes up your feed. If it's like 3 weeks later,
Well, because you've been moaning, they're now going to push the algorithm down.
hopefully because I've been
Gotta watch
moaning
yourself.
that I'll either get it quicker or I'll get it a lot later. So either or. But I just think it's crazy what they've done. You can move it back, but not everybody knows how to do that. So
Yeah.
luckily enough, Eric and Wendy both told us how to do it. But I have not been too pleased about it, because you'll get people that are putting out good content that you would normally usually support.
So what's the premise that they're trying to get more paid boosted? Because that's what Facebook did. Because I know people who had a lot of organic traction in the early days on Facebook, and then within a week it changed, and the only way to get that same level of traction was to boost the post.
What did you say you think it is, Andrew?
They've come away from vanity analytics and they've put it into relevance. So the inference would be the AIs now coming into it, where it doesn't interpret images, it interprets stories.
Okay.
So it's going to go in a story way rather than a popular story.
Okay.
But you'd
Good to tell better stories then.
Right, but you'd think that she likes. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But you'd think that a live show like this
Yeah.
would be high up there in the
Yeah.
the analytics. But we did see a difference in it. So we'll see. We're still playing about, waiting to see how we can get the best return of and somebody's investment in coming down here. Even though
times.
we know that everybody just comes down for the coffee and the cakes.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
So it's all good. Right, magic mate.
Thank you.
Right, cheers. Thanks, Andrew.